Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something a little different, a little chilling. We're heading to a small village in India to unpack a local legend, a ghost story that's been scaring people for generations. This is the mystery of the metgao Haveli.
Now, before we get into it, I want you to know something. This isn't just some campfire story I cooked up. The account this is based on, from the Vidarbha region of Maharashtra in India, claims this is a true event. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a story that's been passed down as a very real, very serious warning. So to really get what happened on this one night back in 1998, we got to rewind a bit. We need to talk about this old, abandoned mansion, this Haveli at the edge of McGowan village. Because its walls have a really, really dark history.
Okay, so here's the backstory, and it's a grim one. You've got this classic setup for a haunting, right? The Haveli was built way back during the British era for this landlord, Zamindar Savan Rao. And let me tell you, this guy was just awful, a truly cruel man. He was known for exploiting the poor farmers, mistreating women. Basically, he was a tyrant. Well, one night, the villagers just couldn't take it anymore. They snapped. They set the whole mansion on fire, and Rao and his wife died in the blaze. After that, the place was abandoned, just a burned-out husk, and everyone said it was cursed, haunted by their hangry ghosts. All right, so let's jump forward in time to the summer of 1998. For years, generations, this Haveli has been the town's boogeyman, the place parents warn their kids about. But for a group of college kids home for the summer, it wasn't a warning, it was a dare. So let's meet our crew. We've got 4 college buddies, Ravi, Amol, Sagar, and Nitin. Think of them like this. Ravi's the skeptic, the one who's like, ghosts? Yeah, right. Amol is the complete opposite. He's the cautious one, the guy saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't mess with this. And then you have Sagar and Nitin, kind of caught in the middle, Probably just along for the thrill of it all.
So picture this. They're all hanging out late one night, and of course, the topic of the spooky old Haveli comes up. Ravi, being Ravi, just scoffs at it all. He calls it superstition, and full of bravado, he throws down the gauntlet. Let's go prove it tonight, he says. And even though the others are a little hesitant, you know how it is, the thrill of the dare, it was just too much to resist. They agreed. They were going to spend the night in the haunted mansion.
And so they head out. All they've got are some flashlights and, let's be honest, a whole lot of youthful arrogance. They make their way to the crumbling old Haveli. And this, my friends, is where things start to get real. Where the legend stops being a story and starts feeling, well, a little too real. It's late, around 11 p.m. when they get there. And as they push open these massive rusted doors, imagine the sound. A loud, groaning ching, ching that just echoes. It's almost like the house itself is trying to tell them to stay out. The second they step inside, the vibe is just off. A cold draft hits them out of nowhere, and it carries this weird smell. It's not just musty and damp, there's this hint of old smoke in the air. Amol, our cautious friend, immediately says, "Guys, this place doesn't feel right." But Ravi, of course, just laughs. Then, as they're looking around a room full of charred furniture, Sagar's flashlight starts to flicker, and then, poof, it's dead.
So now, it's even darker. And in that heavy silence, they hear it. A faint laugh, a woman's laugh. Chilling, right? They all just freeze. Nitin, totally freaked out now, whispers, "Who is that?" But nobody answers, because deep down, they all knew. Okay, so things just went from spooky to downright scary. What started as weird feelings and faint sounds is about to become a full-blown, terrifying confrontation. The time for subtle haunting? Yeah, that's over. They move into another room, and their flashlight beams land on something outside a window. It's a figure, a woman, in a white sari. But her face is completely black, like it's been burned. She turns and starts to move, slowly, towards the entrance of the house. They are absolutely frozen with fear. It's her. It's the landlord's wife from the stories.
And just like that, their terror-induced paralysis is shattered by a voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, echoing through the empty halls. "How dare you come here? This is my house." And then that voice just erupts into this blood-curdling scream, so loud it feels like it's going to split their heads open.
This is not a game anymore. They're not explorers, they're prey. They turn, they run for the main door, but just as they get there, boom, it slams shut right in front of them. They try to open it, but it's completely stuck. And the terror is just too much for Sagar. He faints, just collapses right there on the floor. The others are left in a full-blown panic, trapped inside with whatever is in there with them.
And then it gets even worse, if that's even possible. In a corner of the room, a fire just starts, out of thin air, and inside those flames, a face starts to appear. A man's face, twisted with this incredible, furious anger. It's him. It's the landlord, Sawant Rao. The whole room starts to smell like something is burning, and they can feel it. The spirits are closing in. I mean, that should be it, right? Trapped, terrified, facing down these two vengeful ghosts. Their story should have ended right there in that burning room. But then, something happens. A bit of what the original story calls a miracle. An escape they never saw coming. So get this. At that exact moment, a village priest just happens to be walking by the Haveli on his way home from prayers. He hears these awful screams coming from inside, and he knows exactly what's going on. He runs to the door and starts chanting these powerful mantras. Then he takes out his tulsi mala, his holy prayer beads, and touches the door. And just like that, the door swings open, all on its own. The curse, or whatever it was broken. The friends don't waste a second. They scramble out of there, dragging the still unconscious Sagar with them, and they do not look back. But here's the thing. Getting out of the Haveli didn't mean they got away from the horror. Not really. That night left a scar, a deep one, and it just made the mystery of that old mansion even more terrifying. The fallout from this was pretty bad, especially for Sagar. He was sick for months with a high fever, and he was tormented by these awful nightmares. People said he'd scream in his sleep, yelling, "That woman, she will burn me." The trauma of what he saw that night, it just stuck with him, long after the fever broke. In the haunting of the metgao Haveli, it didn't stop that night in 1998. Nope. Even today, people in the village who walk by at night say they can still hear those screams. They report smelling that same distinct smell of something burning. And some swear they've actually seen her, a figure in a white sari, just watching from one of the dark, burned-out windows. So for those four guys, what happened was 100% real. The terror was real. But what about for us, looking back at it? What really went down in that mansion? Was it actually a brush with vengeful ghosts? Or was it maybe a powerful delusion? Something their minds cooked up, fueled by a scary story and pure, paralyzing fear. The account gives us no easy answers, and so the mystery of the metgao Haveli just continues.